Alright, what's going on, guys? Haven't made a video in a while here on YouTube with my actual computer screen. Um, Apologize for the delay. I just wanted to go over my trades that I took today on MNQ, on NASDAQ, the micros. I took 3 trades today. Let me show you first. So here's the 30-minute chart. Here's yesterday's action. Let me change this to a mouse. There we go. So this is where we opened up today. Here's yesterday's regular trading hour action. So we had a big red day yesterday, consolidated for a bit overnight, and then had a big drop. We came down to last week's low, which is last Friday, where we had this strong move back up off the lows last Friday. So that was kind of a level I was watching here off the open to see what we're going to do. So I'll change it back over to the 5-minute chart here. And you can see, so obviously the red line is yesterday's low, and then we had kind of had this pre-market overnight high right here, somewhere in that area, and then over here, let me go back to the 30 actually, easier to see. So you got yesterday's low, kind of the overnight high here, and then kind of a resistance level here from yesterday, and then yesterday's high zone up here. So like I said, we opened up at last week's low right around this area here, and then I'll go back to the 5-minute. So right off the open, they dropped it down pretty hard here, but immediately on the next 5-minute candle, they bought it right back up. So knowing that we were at last week's low, I thought, there's a chance they want to buy this thing back up just like they did last Friday. So on this really strong reclaim here, I was looking to see if we can get continuation on it, because after that strong of a reclaim with that big 5-minute candle, like that's a huge candle, and it's usually going to get some follow through after that kind of size candle. So we got back above, this is the 15 EMA, the 50 EMA, and then the 200 EMA on the 5-minute chart. Those are the 3 EMAs that I look at really on any time frame. I used to use the 9 and the 20, but I switched to the 15, and I know that like the 9 and the 20 are kind of in the same area, right? So I just don't want to have too many lines on my chart. So, but I used to always use the 9 and the 20, especially on the 5-minute chart. That was kind of my go-to, but I kind of changed it up just to kind of keep things clean. So anyways, all right, so we had the strong move up back above last week's low, back above the pre-market low. We kind of swept this pre-market low here, and then immediately strong move back up. So like I said, reclaim the EMAs on the 15 and the 50 on this close here. So I'm thinking, all right, I want to see if we get continuation here. So we had this little, on the next candle open up, we kind of had this little wick down to kind of test the 50 and slightly into this candle here. It's also kind of a level right here, you can see from the pre-market area. So we came down, tested that, and then we kind of went red back to green, and as we were kind of breaking this high, I got in long right here. Let's put a little circle on that so you can see it. My stop was, originally my stop was kind of under the 15. It was a wide stop for how volatile we are. I was only using 2 micros because of the volatility. So I took the long here. Price kind of messed around a little bit, came back down after I entered, and eventually we got the move up. I scaled out 1 here, and then as we got more extended, I think I trailed it out here, or I just took it off because it was a really nice move up. I think it was like, let's see, close to 800 up to close to 9, so it's almost like a 100-point move, which is, I mean, these candles were huge. You can see the average true range of these 5-minute candles. I think it was around like 70 something points earlier on in the day here, so some pretty crazy volatility. So that's why when you get these kind of conditions, obviously you want to take advantage of it, but you need to also be cognizant of if price goes against you. So you want to size properly and be able to manage your risk if you end up taking a loss. So anyways, that was my first trade. Basically scaled one and then took off the other. I'd had the last couple days before this, I had a little bit of a rough go. So I was just looking to get a win under my belt, to get a little bit of confidence back in myself and in my system. So I was happy to get that win, 2 micros, and then we kind of went up to this 200 EMA on the 5-minute chart, and also near the previous day low. We ended up kind of forming this flag here. We came down, held near this 15, and again, like the way I think about the 15 is I know like the 9 EMA that I used to look at and the 20 EMA are like right in this same area, and I used to kind of use both, right? So when they're both sloping up together, I'd only be looking for longs. If they're both sloping down together, I'd only be looking for shorts for the most part, right? So in my mind, like this 15 is kind of more like a little zone here, right, as it's kind of moving up. So the main thing I'm looking at is like we have good momentum, price is kind of pulling back, controlled, it's forming a flag. So I'm just looking at, all right, like I see we're bouncing near this area. That's a good sign that buyers are wanting to buy this thing up on this first dip, you could say. So my entry wasn't the greatest entry. Let's see right here. So a lot of times I like to enter when the opposite color candle is getting taken out. It's more of a, I guess you could say, like a confirmation type entry. You can either enter, as you get kind of confirmation on a move, or you could enter like down near the EMA without confirmation, and that's the better risk reward. It just depends on your style and how you want to do it. You could just get in down here, but you don't know if it's going to keep going down. So maybe your win rate won't be as good if you just get in near the EMA. But you also sacrifice, having a bigger kind of stop loss and less reward when you wait for confirmation. But personally, I like to wait for some sort of confirmation. Sometimes I will get in a little bit earlier when I start to see like if there was another wick down here in this candle, I maybe would have got in a little earlier. But on this one, I kind of get in as we're kind of breaking this little flag downtrend line, and as we're kind of taking out this red candle, my stop was just, I think it was down under this green candle, or maybe even down here. Again, it's a pretty wide stop, so that's why I was only using 2 micros. So anyways, in here we kind of came down, messed around a little bit more, and then we did eventually get the push. The biggest hurdle was really this 200 EMA was acting as resistance, and really I was just trying to look to see if we could get a test up into that previous day low area. So I took one off there, and then we kind of formed a nice little inside bar, like lower wick, almost like a little hammer here on the 5-minute. And if I was being more aggressive, I honestly would have probably looked to add, since we kind of came down, couldn't close below the previous day's low. We retested these wicks right here and the 200 EMA. So previous resistance turning into support. We get a nice little lower wick here, little inside bar. So as that thing broke, if I wanted to be more aggressive, I probably would have looked to add on this. And then we took off, and then you can see this zone, this overnight area, basically near the 150 areas where I was looking to take off. So that move, actually see here how far it was, and I don't even know. From there to there, it's 168 points about. So you can see, it was very volatile today. The candles were huge, so crazy move up. So I was happy with it. So that was the second trade. So like I said, scaled one out here into strength. After that, I think I moved my stop. It was pretty much a little bit under the 200 EMA. I don't like to go to break even with my stop just to go to break even. I know some people like to do that. I like to do it kind of more based on the structure, so I still give the trade, enough room to kind of work out and just kind of fully accept like the risk that maybe I could end up losing on the second contract, but I want to give the trade enough room to be able to work, right? So I don't want to smother it. So I'm okay even if I were to lose on the second one. It would have probably been more of like a scratch kind of trade, but that's a risk I'm willing to take. If you're not willing to accept the risk, right, then I guess don't take the trade, or you can go to break even. Just depends on your style. I like to give it proper room, especially if I already scaled some out too, right? It kind of helps you to be able to hold on the little pullbacks here. So yeah, I took that second one off into strength here. I think I actually kind of trailed it tight as we were getting into the zone. I was happy with it. Then we had another pullback, and let's see here. And then look what happened again. Another flag. What do you know? So we came back down, back near this 15 EMA zone, right? I'm just looking at the price action, waiting for signs of buying to come in. We had this nice little hammer. Honestly, you could have just gotten in just above it right here on this candle. It had a little wick down. I was actually eyeing this, but I was like, I'm already happy with my day. Like, I don't necessarily need to get in. Then we broke the flag. We had a nice close here, and I took just a 1 micro on this one. I was actually on the phone with my brother when I took this trade, so that's why I was like, I'm just gonna do 1, and it was basically a quick scalp. So we had this nice close here, and then this candle opened. We came down and retested this level again. Just this little wick. I love getting in on these like red to green moves, right? You see that the sellers, maybe a little bit of profit taking comes in, you form this bottom wick, and then it goes red to green, and I just get in. And then my stop was probably, I think I had it underneath this green candle, most likely. I mean, you can be as tight as you want. You could put it right under the wick after it breaks the high of this candle if you want to be tighter with it. But sometimes they'll come down a little bit more after getting above it. It'll come back down and then go. So you'll get stopped up more often if you do that, but it's certainly an area where you can place your stop if you want. So yeah, got in here, red to green, going with the trend, had a flag break, nice close on this candle. I'm looking to get continuation here. So we get the move up, and I just take it off right near this zone. I was already happy with my day, so I wasn't looking to get too much. We also already had, this first pullback. It was a second pullback. Later in the trends, sometimes you don't get as much follow through, and you can see like this first move was obviously a big move up. Second move, big move up. Third move, you start to get less follow through sometimes later in the trend, right? So I was happy with just taking the scalp, getting in, getting out, and taking it, and then that was it for me for the day. So we came up to this level, kind of screwed around, and I thought maybe there was a chance we could get up to previous day high, but we'd already had a huge move, back up here from this move down, big move down. We already had a big move back up, so I was content with my day and didn't want to push it. So I just wanted to show my trades for the day. It was nice to bounce back and end the week on a good note after having a bit of a hiccup with some of my accounts the last couple of days. I lost a handful of accounts, so it's always tough, but I always say we learn from the pain the most and the fastest. So if you can kind of learn from your mistakes, and the pain kind of just makes you like remember it for the future, right? Like it's like, oh man, I messed up last time. It was really painful. I'm not going to do that again. So I had a red day, and then I ended up trading taken some trades in the after hours and screwed myself up, and that's not a part of my trade plan. I think I was probably still a little bit of emotional from the red day that I had, and I think in my mind I was like, I'm just gonna get a little cushion for the next day. And it was like 7-8 p.m. at night, and ended up turning into me, having another basically max loss day in the after hour session, and I've done that before in the past too. So sometimes it takes you a few times to learn a lesson, like I said, from that pain before you actually stop doing it. So that'll be the last time I trade after hours. You can bet that. So I've learned my lesson on that. So, but anyways, yeah, like I said, happy, grateful to be able to end the week on a good note after having a couple of tough, back-to-back red days, you could say. So, if you guys have any questions, you can leave it in the comments. And I did start a Discord as well. If people want to come check that out, I'll put that in the description as well. So hope everyone had a good day and have a good weekend. And I'm going to try to make more videos. I'm going to try to do like another strategy overview video as well, kind of refresher. So have a good weekend, guys, and we'll talk again soon. All right, peace.